Good morning, guys, and welcome back. Gold just created a new all-time high, surpassing $3,115 at the time of making this video. The rally was driven by mainly two important things. The first one is obviously the safe haven flows, which come from the Trump tariffs and the uncertainty in global markets, and the second one is the macroeconomic fears. Also, we have to factor in the Fed dovish tilt, where the Fed decreased the GDP forecast growth for the US and also increased the PCE core inflation to 2.7%, reinforcing the fears of stagflation. Stagflation means that there is no growth but high inflation. It is a nasty period to be in, and trust me, every single central bank is trying to avoid. And we also have the physical market stress. The arbitrage flows from London to New York have created tight refinery capacity and elevated lease rates. Many of the major analysts and investment banks have actually raised their forecast to around $3,200 on average for 2025. Also, you can see that because of the uncertainty, the yields on the US government bonds started to come down and the price is going up. If you don't know, the price and the yield is inversely correlated on the bonds, and when yields are dropping but price is rising, that means the demand for US government bonds is increasing, and if the demand is increasing, that means that investors and traders are looking for safe haven. So this is the sign of a recession which is about to come. And I talked about so many times that I'm expecting in the next 12 to 18 months all the indices in the US and globally the stock markets to halve in price. Bitcoin also go back to 50,000 and gold go well above $3,200. This week we have so many important macroeconomic data. For example, the ISM non-manufacturing, we have JOLTS job opening, ADP, and the notorious non-farm payrolls, which I'm going to live trade. If you want to live trade with me, if you want to get access to my signals, the link is below the video. The first thing I'm going to analyze is, of course, gold. Now, recently, Donald Trump yesterday just threatened Russia that they're going to impose a second wave of tariffs for anything sold. For example, Russian oil, they're going to tariff it twice, which President Putin didn't like, of course. And this has caused gold to reach above $3,100 for the first time in history. And this escalation of tariff war is not finished yet. The tariffs are going to go ahead or live on the 2nd of April 2025. To be honest, no one knows, so I urge you to watch and read the news as much as possible, because anything relevant is going to move the markets and it's difficult to forecast for now. But what I gathered from the news and information online is that all the enemies of Trump, the other countries which Trump tariffed, for example, the European Union, China, Canada, pretty much everyone, they're going to retaliate all the tariffs and they're not going to back down, especially China. It's important that China is not going to back down. We've seen in 2016 to 2020, first presidency of Trump, China never backed down at all. So from what it looks like, I can only see escalation in this side of the topic. We cannot forecast what's going to happen tomorrow or in the future. We have to react to every news which comes out in this topic. But the other thing that we can do is to trade in the economic calendar around the most high impact news. As you can see on Monday, the calendar is pretty much empty, but from Tuesday onwards, we're going to have very, very good quality data. Tuesday, we are going to have ISM non-manufacturing and manufacturing data, ISM manufacturing data and JOLTS job openings. Then on Wednesday, we're going to have ADP non-farm employment, and as we go into Thursday, the usual jobless claims is going to come out along with the ISM non-manufacturing data. Now, this is very important. You want to trade the ISM non-manufacturing data. This is going to definitely move the market. And of course, on Friday, we're going to have the good old non-farm payrolls along with some unemployment and GDP data. And this is what everyone is waiting for. Also important to talk about risk management. Now, NFP is one of the most misforecasted data, and it's the most volatile out of all of them. During these volatile periods, you want to make sure that you protect your capital as much as possible. Now, ForexC is offering a 50% deposit bonus, meaning that if you deposit, for example, $1,000 a pound, you get $500 a pound extra margin, which is basically free money. Now, I cannot emphasize enough that how important and how good this deal is, and I don't know how long it's going to be, but if you want some extra money, if you want to prepare for NFP, and if you don't want to lose your money, go down to alphafx.eu/ForexC and claim the bonus deposit now. Going back to the chart, you can see that currently gold has created a new all-time high at 3,128. So actually it's a new all-time high, new all-time high since I made the intro of the video. Gold already moved up another $15. Now, if you look at on the technicalities, what I saw before was this bull flag pattern, where the first pole of the flag goes to the previous impulse move. So this is the first pole, and the second pole is going to here. So the maximum or the target ideally is going to be 3,142. This is where I'm expecting, or where the technicality is pointing that gold should come as high. But again, if you place the beginning of the first impulse move a little bit higher, then the second pole is going to be a little bit shorter as well. So I cannot give you an exact, precise level where the market is going to finish this impulse move to the upside, but I can say that I'm expecting somewhere between 3,120 and 3,150. So what we have is a $30 bracket or $30 area where price can reverse. I'm not expecting a huge reversal because gold is bullish, and you can see that everything is pointing into the direction that gold is going to continue higher and higher. But because we have high impact data, we can expect a minor pullback. It's the month end. We have high impact data, for example, NFP. So what I would expect is a little bit of pullback within this range. And actually, if you look at my chart, I started shorting gold already with a few positions. I'm going to talk about this later. So we have this range, and I'm expecting gold to pull back within this range, but it can go a little bit higher and then move down. The target, what I'm targeting, is definitely around 3,090, 3,080. So this is going to be the first take profit level. It may continue lower, it may continue a little bit higher, we don't know, but the rule of thumb is always take profit at the previous resistance or previous high, previous low. And in this case, if I go down to lower time frame, you're going to see that this was the previous higher high at 3,093. So this is going to be the first take profit level. At that point, from where gold is going to go, no one knows. It will all depend on the fundamental news and the data. But what I'm expecting now is price may pull back from the current position, and I'm going to take profit at 3,080. And as you can see, I do have a few open positions already, but you can see that gold is consolidating just before the all-time high or just under the all-time high. So meaning that it could still go up or south. We don't know yet. As much as it's in profit, I'm going to take some profit off the table. And if it pulls back down to 3,080, it may continue to retest the previous or the latest all-time high and go even higher. We don't know that. But until this bullish market structure is intact, don't expect price to come down anything lower than 3,090. If it breaks this market structure, it still doesn't mean that the bullish market is finished, because you can see on the higher time frame that price has still some room to pull back, even down to 3,050, 3,000, and that still hasn't broken the bullish market structure. So that's why I always say keep it reasonable when you trade and try setting reasonable targets, which most likely you're going to achieve. So don't expect price to fall, thousands of dollars within an hour. Have some reasonable. So my target now is, if we talk about the actual positions, I started shorting at the current price level, and my target is going to be around 3,100, 3,090, and 3,080. So this is the current position I have. It is a 1-to-5, 1-to-6 risk-reward ratio. If you haven't entered into a position, I think this is a pretty solid setup for now, but make sure that you take profit at reasonable profit targets and don't expect price to come down thousands of dollars. If you want more detailed signals, more detailed analysis, you can get access to my own trades. Every single time when I post a trade, when I enter a trade, I do post it on Discord for the members area. To get access to my signals and my positions, go to alphafx.eu and select the Pro plan. You didn't need the premium. The Pro plan is more than sufficient. This is a lifetime offer. Go and take it and you get access to all of my trades. And let's talk about Bitcoin. Now, I've heard a saying that many people are talking about that Bitcoin is the new gold. Well, this isn't the case just yet because Bitcoin is very, very tiny comparing the market of physical and derivative gold market. But it's definitely started to move just like gold. So during stress on the market, we see that investors or traders choose Bitcoin over gold as a safe haven asset. But Bitcoin is not exactly a safe haven asset. It's not exactly a store of value asset. It is still a high risk asset, but we started to see characteristics or behavior just like on gold. So from this perspective, and this is highly theoretical, if we treat Bitcoin as the new gold, then I see upside potential for this reason. And if you look at the market, you can see that it looks like that Bitcoin is lagging behind gold a little bit, which we have a nice bull flag pattern again. And if it's going to behave just like gold, we saw that Bitcoin already created this bull flag pattern that I showed you on the chart previously. So we have the first bull, we have the flag, and then we have the upside move. And then what it looks like is that Bitcoin is lagging a little bit behind gold, of course, because it's a difficult market currently to trade in. But from this theoretical perspective, if we treat Bitcoin as the new gold, and if we look at this lag that currently we experienced on the market, what I'm seeing is a potential break to the upside from this bull flag, a retest, and a new all-time high at around 119,000. But I would keep the target reasonable and maybe target the previous all-time high. And to be honest, if you look at the current market price at $82,000, even if it reaches 92 or 100,000, that's already a decent profit. So I would make sure to take some profit off the table, if not all of them, at the previous highs. So entry, maybe the current position could be a good price to enter, but don't forget that there is a risk that price hasn't continued this bull flag pattern and may going to create another lag before shooting up. But in order not to miss the move, I am going to enter into a long position as we speak right now. The stop loss is going to be somewhere around below the medium of this bull flag channel. So let's say 77,000. Entry at 82,100, and the take profit, the first one is going to be at 89,000 or 90,000, second one is 95, and then 100,000. If you feel very adventurous, you can hold the position for a little bit longer, and this would be my ultimate target, the previous all-time high. And if you're feeling extremely adventurous, then you can, hold the position until the sky is the limit. So let's have a look at my MetaTrader. It's pretty much the same chart that you saw earlier on a daily time frame. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter with a 0.2, actually 0.10. So I'm going to keep the risk to the absolute minimum. Stop loss somewhere around 77,000. Yeah, that's more than enough. And the take profit level, let's target maybe 90. Let's target 100,000. And this is my setup. Once again, if you want to get access to my trades, go to alphafx.eu and sign up for a lifetime membership, and you get all of this with the ticket details printed out. So let's recap. We talked about gold and Bitcoin today, and I'm going to send out more analysis for the team in Discord. But gold, generally speaking, I'm bullish on gold, but I'm expecting a minor pullback down to 3,090, 3,100. And on Bitcoin, what I noticed is a potential lag between gold and Bitcoin. And I'm expecting price to continue higher and at least retest the previous all-time high. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure that you hit the like button, enable the notifications, and leave a comment below. Thank you so much. This is the AlphaFX.